Hey, so shout out to all 67 people that are subscribed to me at the time of making this video. This is me just talking to myself, a portion in life and every day where just give you an update and everything going on, just some things that I think about whenever I'm laying in bed at night. And yeah, so the first thing that I was thinking about is because I've been bombarded by these videos this whole week. And once again, I want to say this before I say anything. On top of my shelf, I have a Canon S, and I still have some old 120 film right here. I love film. I think film is great. I think film is fantastic. I think film looks beautiful. There is no way that you can get the film look, no matter how hard you try, in digital. But can we just stop pretending like for every beginner photographer, that film is for everyone? Can we just, I mean, honestly, I once again, I love film. If you shoot Leica, shoot film on your Leica. If you shoot medium format on your Mamiya or on your Pentax, shoot that medium format film, dude. I love it. But at the same time, it's getting, man, every day I'm on this app and I just see everything geared towards basically what's the fad, but even more, everything is gate kept so damn hard in photography. And photography is one of the most, honestly, it has become one of the most toxic places in the world, honestly. Photography forums, Reddit's comment section. If someone uses Canon, literally someone can use a Canon and like have a whole review on a Canon R5 and should you upgrade from the Canon EOS R. And literally there will be 90 people on there being like, I'm gonna stick with my Nikon D whatever and this lens, and I'm just gonna stick with my A7R4 with a thumbs up or one of these emojis. And it makes no sense. Like, who hurt you? What camera manufacturer hurt you that you feel like you have to defend these companies who don't give a shit about you? They don't. Literally, they're going to take your money. There's a reason why Canon manipulates you into thinking that, oh, you know what? We're going to give you all the shit, and then they brick it. Every single time, they have to wait for a software update because people are pissed before they make it great. So, yeah, the camera landscape has become one of the most toxic, and now toxicity has met film, where people are now crying about, oh my gosh, the price of film cameras going up because you guys keep reviewing them. Well, guess what? It was your fault for being a film snob and saying that real artists shot with film. And now that everyone wants to be a real artist, guess who's paying the price? You, who for some reason feels like you need to buy 9 Canon AE1 bodies to supplement your Mamiya RB67. That's hilarious to me that that's happening. Then you have everyone now crying about, well, film prices are going up because we have all these novices who are shooting. When once again, you guys in the film community were some of the ones who are gatekeeping, saying that real photographers shot with film. The same way that DSLR shooters say real cameras are DSLRs, mirrorless is just a fad. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So it just makes me laugh. It makes me chuckle. But let's just stop. Can we just stop pretending like film is a great thing for beginner photographers to learn on? It's not. It's good, but it's not the best. Honestly, if you're a beginner photographer out there and you want to know what's the first camera I should buy, let me just tell you right now, I wouldn't learn on a mirrorless camera and I wouldn't learn on a film camera. I would go on eBay right now and I would type in Canon 5D Classic and I would buy that for around $300. It's a full frame camera. It's going to do everything you need to do. It's a DSLR with an optical viewfinder, which basically means that when you take a photo, what you're seeing in the shot is not going to be the same exposure unless you expose correctly on your camera, and it's going to be blurry if you don't have the right shutter speed, and the depth of field is not going to be right if you don't have the right aperture. And that is the best way if you're a beginning photographer to learn, is to buy yourself a DSLR camera. It does not have to be a new one. Canon 5D Classic came out in 2005. It's a camera that I personally love, and honestly, at the time of me saying this, I want to buy another 5D Classic and I want to put a nifty 50 on that, and I want to carry that around sometimes whenever I have family around and take photos on that because I love that sensor and it still does something for me every single day. But once again, man, the camera community is so gatekept. People gatekeep about what's a professional camera. It has to be full frame, right? But at the same time, those people are all shooting portrait and product photography, but they won't touch full frame, even though it costs cheaper now. Some full frame from Fujifilm or medium format is cheaper now than a lot of full frame cameras from Sony, Canon, and Nikon. It's hilarious that they want to talk to you about professionalism, but at the same time, they're not using the most professional gear for what they can do. It's all about the brand. We're gatekeeping for brands. Oh, the autofocus on Canon has really increased. Well, it's not Sony. No one cares if it's not Sony, bro. Seriously, what's so important about defending Sony's autofocus system? Listen, the greatest thing about Canon failing with autofocus was it caused them to go back to the drawing boards and realize we are not the top gun right now. We need to fix this. And that's great. But you know what's happening is Canon's catching up to Sony. And what has Sony been doing? They've been sitting on their hands, honestly. Yes, they've been doing more video-centric stuff, and the A1 is nice and everything, but when it comes to their consumer line, there will come a point where Canon, from what it looks like right now, unless Sony jumps miles in ahead, they will catch up to Sony, and then Sony won't be able to rely on that. And then what does it go back to? What happens? Because honestly, is it going to be about glass? Because people know Canon more for their glass than they do for how good their bodies are, to be honest with you. It's all about the L glass. And even ever coming to that, optically, does Sony have anything that touches that 51.2 from Canon? I'm sincerely asking, by the way. If you know that Sony has something that touches optically that 51.2 from Canon, or is it the 1.0, the RF lens? I got to shoot a couple shots in that thing, and when I tell you that from corner to corner, it's beautiful and it has character, bro, I'm telling you, that is a lens to save up for and get. If I was to shoot Canon and I could only choose one lens and I had like a whatever budget, however much that camera was, I'd buy the RP in that 51.2. I wouldn't even care. That is a fantastic camera. That is a fantastic lens, not camera. The RP is great too, by the way. I will never hate on that. As a former EOS R owner, I won't hate on Canon ever. But that's the thing, is people want to gatekeep for everything. Even people are still defending Nikon and their deficiencies instead of demanding Nikon do better. And Nikon owners not just saying, oh, well, just wait until next year. No, demand that you have better. Demand that the software update, that the software and the firmware updates come in to unlock more features. And the same thing with Fujifilm. Listen, if you're a Fujifilm owner, we don't have to defend Fujifilm because honestly, the plain simple fact is I don't mind that people think Fujifilm isn't professional. That's fine with me because you know what? Clients never care. It's people online and on forums who think that they know everything because they've been a photographer for more than a few years or maybe just recently, or they watched a video with Tony and Chelsea Northrup and they're talking about how Sony and Canon are leaving everyone in the dust. I can imagine that. I can understand that. And I can understand why they would feel like that. But at the same time, there's no need to defend. Dude, everyone likes what they like and everyone is down for brand loyalty. That's one thing I've never been into. I've gone to whatever brand suits my needs. When I shot Canon, I shot just Canon. When I shot film, I shot Yashica, and because I knew the Yashica bodies and I knew the Canon net body, I messed around with that. I had a Canon 1N and I messed around with that, and I took those EF lenses and put them on my Canon 5D Mark II, and I messed around with that. But whenever that couldn't do everything I wanted to do and it was too big, I went with Olympus, and whenever Olympus had its limitations, I sold both of those for the A6300 and Sony line because I needed more video centric along with my photography. And when I wanted something bigger in the body again, I liked Sony, I went with the A7 III. And then whenever I realized that okay, I didn't have to do video much anymore and I wanted a camera that suited me more for photography, and I got my hands on a Fujifilm camera and tested one out, I went with the X-T3, and then I got an EOS R, and then I sold the X-T3, and then now I'm back to the X Pro 3, and now I'm happy because I know where I'm at and I'm not having to do things super professionally anymore, so I'm content. You go with the bodies, you go with everything that you need that suits your needs at the time, and that's what I've always done. I never cared about brand loyalty. I never wanted to use a APS-C sensor Canon body because I already had Canon lenses. I never was worried about if I had the hat for a brand, if I had the shirt, if I had the bag. I never got on forums and told, oh, but this, and this. The one thing that I tell people always that I'm always going to ring on about is that full frame is overrated as shit. That's the only thing that I ever bring up is that full frame is overrated as shit, dude. Like literally, you can't tell me anything else. Yeah, you get for the benefit that you get, it's not as great as you would think for the price gap to be. That's what I'm going to tell you, because even whenever they put APS-C since like Fujifilm, whenever it was the XH1 versus A7 III or the A7S2 and things like that, the benefits were not gigantic. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And honestly, if you're looking for portrait photography and you're doing stuff for product photography and you're doing stuff for shoots and you're not looking medium format full time, you know, it can be said about you that you don't take it seriously by medium format people. So once again, I'm not understanding the gatekeeping of photography. I'm not understanding the people who are saying, because I've seen it where people criticize those using Lightroom still because you're not switching over to Capture One because it's a more professional and smooth environment. I can't understand why people try so hard about how, oh, you got to shoot with this kind of glass and that kind of glass, and oh, I only want weather sealed, and oh, it only has this many frames per second, and oh, it only shoots 10 or 8-bit, it doesn't shoot 10-bit, oh, it only shoots 6K, not 8K, oh, it only shoots, the buffer only fits 21 raw images, blah, 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 blah. At what point are you going to shut up and go outside and take photos? At what point are you being held back by your resolution? I said it in another video and I'll say it again. If you're pissed about megapixel count because now you can't crop into 300% and you want to see, like what an image looks at 300%, you fucked up your shot. Who is looking for that? Who is cropping in? Oh my gosh, I'm not even trying to get into it, man. It's just like, I don't like shooting charts. I'm not a technical person. I don't know everything about photography. I know the stuff that I research and that I force myself to learn so that I can get better. But I don't know any about other stuff. You know what I know about an image is if it makes me feel good, and if I got the image that'll make a client feel great, or if I got the image that perfectly portrays how beautiful my fiance is, or how amazing my mom is, or how cute my nephew is, or how fun my life is. That is what I care about in an image. And when it comes to clients, how cute do the little girls look, and is this photo going to make her look good and him look good? Is this something they're going to want to hang up in their house? That's what I worry about. I don't worry about, what, this is great, but if I zoom in on bitch's eye at 200%, is it going to be okay? I don't care. I don't care, because they're not going to care. They're not going to look into it. And once again, if you missed your shot, no amount of cropping in can save you. And that's it, man. If you know you're gonna need a wide shot and a tight shot of a pose, why are you crying that you can't crop into this? I understand really bad chromatic aberration and green and purple fringing. I completely do. But this just unhinges me, because people put their whole emphasis on that. A lens can be great optically, but you will always be like, well, let me shoot it in with light coming directly into it, and you won't put on the lens hood that comes with it. Oogie. Well, let me go ahead and shoot in these extreme conditions, and you know how to professionally work around those conditions, but you choose not to. This camera does horrible in backlight. Don't shoot backlight, bro. It's simple. It is simple. We are so, I almost knocked it over. We are so spoiled with everything that we have, to where we have the solutions for everything that we're doing with every device that we're using. We know a solution to give us the best possible results. And instead of doing a little bit of extra work, we want to complain about, oh, it's horrible in backlight and the autofocus. Oh, the autofocus hits maybe 80% of the time. Oh, this lens is great, but whenever I have someone running straight at the camera, and I mean running or riding a bike straight at the camera, oh, it doesn't hit every time. And these reviews are great. They're great because they show you the quality and they show off how much a company does. And, for some people, like sports photographers, you're allowed, if you do sports photography, you're allowed to say whatever you want to say about any camera, because you are the ones that sincerely have to worry about frames per second. You're sincerely the ones that have to worry about blackout time, about how great the tracking is, about you are the ones, sports and wildlife, that have the most basically weight on how great a lens not only performs optically, but mechanically in line with the camera and the whole system. You guys get a little bit of a pass. But for everyone else who's shooting studio portraits, bro, what? And you can try to justify it. I like models to be moving and blah, 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 blah. Listen, man, I'm just telling you right now, I've heard all the excuses, but a lot of times you don't make sense. Because how often are you shooting that? You want weatherproofing, but you shoot indoors? Oh, it's because of dirt. Do you not take care of your gear? I've never had a camera get super dirty. I'm talking about I'm cleaning that baby with floss. I'm spraying it with an air gun. I've got lens pinzes. I've got cloths. I've got Zeiss wipes. I've got everything I need to take care of my gear. At what point do you stop blaming the gear that you have, and you stop getting this gas that everyone has, this gear acquisition syndrome, and you just be quiet and you take photos with something? I encourage everyone to get an old ass camera. Get a 5D classic. Get yourself a Nikon D2X. Get yourself a D2X if you want a big professional looking body. Get yourself an X Pro 1 if you want to jack with that. Get yourself an Olympus OMD EM10, the original. Get yourself an old camera body and shoot with that for a few days and literally look at how cameras have progressed. And then go out and get yourself a cheap film camera. Get yourself a point and shoot and take photos with that and see how basically little the camera even means. I mean, yeah, cameras mean a lot. For some people, once again, for sports and for wildlife, I give you a pass because more than anything, if you guys don't use this stuff, the top of the line stuff, someone else is and you're getting left behind. But just go and look. Buy yourself a cheap film camera. Buy yourself a cheap point and shoot to where you don't have any control over it, no manual control. And notice how if you want the image to look good, you better be good at composition, and you better be good at learning how to follow lead lines about how light and colors are affected by certain things. You better get good at that. Buy yourself a cheap camera. Buy yourself 5D Classic with its near horrible autofocus, and put a nifty 50 on there, and really figure out for yourself if you know the basics of photography. So drop your film camera and take a DSLR or an SLR and see if you can figure out your exposure compensation, or your exposure triangle, without continuously chimping. Take a shot at that. And then we can gatekeep. Because at this point, it's just a bunch of people on mirrorless cameras who are talking about, oh, this isn't. Whenever my favorite photographers, they didn't have that. They didn't have autofocus. They didn't have the camera do 90% of the work. And that's where we're at. The camera does 90% of the work for us, but the 10% that counts, that sets apart photographers, are from those that are creative, and it's all up here. And so I'm sorry about the rant, and I'm sorry about the cursing, but I'm just really frustrated because I've literally been on YouTube for like 2 weeks now. I've been uploading videos, and since then I've been more conscious of reading comments and seeing what people, not on my things. The worst thing I get is people talking about Leicas and trying to tell me like, oh, well, you know what, Leica, and they say the same thing because I made a video about Leica and Fujifilm. You can't compare the two, and how I think Leica is overpriced, and then they say the exact same thing but in a different way. Oh, it's different form, it's different this and this, and they're compared because of this and this, and I'm like, that's exactly what I said in my video. I'm not saying that if you have a Leica there's anything wrong with you. I'm just saying, to me, they're overpriced. The bodies, the lenses are great, but the bodies are overpriced because it's using technically old technology, number one. Number two, you can't compare them because of sensor size. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. And number three, I understand that they're for different people, that there's an actual one that uses rangefinder technology and one that just looks like it. That's my point of stop comparing Fujifilm and Leica, and that the only time I see Fujifilm and Leica compared are Leica wedding photographers comparing Fuji and calling it a poor man's Leica, and Fujifilm photographers having to compare it to Leica to try to get people to not see APS-C as some piece of run-of-the-mill shit. So like, it's the same thing. Stop justifying your purchase. No one gives a damn about anything whenever the photo is on their screen. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I go here and I see so many people. There's this girl that I follow. Let me find her, because she's so good. Like, literally, and she shoots on film, and she shoots on an Olympus camera, and she just bought an X Pro 2. Her name's Ariana, Arianna. She has 816 subscribers. She's literally testing vintage glass right now on a Fujifilm camera, but her photos are great. And it's not because she's editing and using Fujifilm recipes and using all these other things, or because she's shooting some kind of great one-of-the-kind Portra 400 film in her film camera. It's because she knows compositioning. It's because she knows how to direct people, how to stand. And I'm telling you, this dude that I'm subscribed to, Anthony, same thing with him. Add-in walls. I've got, this, why I love Stock Easy. Stock Easy is one of the greatest people for compositioning. Volandis, he knows how to make people stand. Mike Gray, I love Mike Gray. Matthias Berling. if you are not a Matthias Berling fan, I'm telling you right now, every shot that man takes is gold because he knows compositioning. He shoots still with an X Pro 1. He puts lenses on a Canon 5D, and he will go out and shoot those things, and the photos will look greater than anything you could ever hope to shoot. And it doesn't matter that he lives in a small rural kind of area in Europe or whatever. What matters is the fact that he knows what he's looking for, and he has an eye for these things. And so I'm just so thrown off, man. If Matt Day shoots on Ilford HP5 and Matt Day's shooting on film, and Matt Day loves Ultramax, and Matt Day loves Gold 200, and he can shoot on those, man, and we're fanboying over how great of an artist he is, do you really think it's the gear that matters? Or do you start to see that it's the fact that it is the photographer that matters most? We bring that 10% to the 90 that the camera does now, and it's not the camera's fault that we're not hitting focus. It's not the camera's fault that we don't know how to direct and how to manipulate and how to position ourselves to get the shot. You got to pay your dues, man. And honestly, at this point, I'm just so thrown off with the photography community because I have never in my life been in a community. Bro, I've been in the Parks and Rec community. I've been in Reddit forums for community. I've been in Reddit forums for Star Wars. I've been in Reddit forums for anime. I've been in the Dragon Ball Z GT forums. And if you know anything about how a lot of anime fans feel about Dragon Ball GT, you know exactly what I mean. I've been in sub versus dub forums, especially whenever it comes to My Hero Academia. And I'm going to jump off of that because that may nerd me a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. I've been in Marvel forums for I'm just going to drop all this. Basically, listen, I've been in places that are known as toxic, and they're not as toxic as a community field, because it doesn't matter if you've been shooting photos for 40 years or 5 minutes. What happens is you get brand loyalty and you start shitting on everything else and everyone else, but then you want to fanboy over people's images. If you want to fanboy over a 35mm camera, let me show you something. To everyone fanboying over, you know, what people are shooting, and they're shooting film, but you're also saying that full frame is the only thing for professionals. Let me remind you that a film camera, okay, look at it. Look at how small that window for light to come is. Okay, that's not that big. Let's be real here. That is literally not that big. And we want to whine about what the specs are. All cameras is literally just a way for you to capture light on a sensor or on a strip of film. That's it. Cameras are just an avenue for you to grab the right amount of light on a camera, on a sensor, on whatever. And that's it. And the rest is you. You're literally using a light box. And you know, it's just, it still just blows my mind that the community's toxic, dude. It's so toxic. Like, people don't just say, oh man, what a great camera, or just mind their business anymore. They have to shit on a camera. I'm telling you, I will never be on a Nikon, a Canon, a Sony, Fujifilm video ever, and in the comments not find people saying, I'm going to stick with my Canon, or, oh, it doesn't seem professional, I'm sticking with my Nikon. Or, you know what's even worse is that everyone in the Fujifilm community who shits on the X Pro 3, who shits on the X Pro line and saying it's not professional enough because I can't see the back of the screen. I could fall out, man. But anyway, this is my rant. I got really upset. I'm telling you, I got really upset. I was going to make this about the fact that I think that every beginning photographer should make a 5D, or should purchase a Canon 5D Classic to learn photography and learn the basics. But man, you know, I just saw some comments today on someone's video that I follow, and people talking about how they wouldn't shoot this, or that. And I was like, man, like, you guys completely are missing it. You're completely missing it. Because guess what? No one cares what you shoot. Show me the photos, bro. Show me the portfolio. Show me the portfolio. Have a good one.